Welcome to the Spotlight SAT free sneak peek. In this short walkthrough, I'm going to guide you through 3 key components of my Spotlight SAT program so that you get a feel for what makes it so effective. Let's dive into a sample from one of my math modules. In a moment, I'll put up a math question. I want you to attempt it just like you would on test day. To gauge how efficient you are with your approach, grab your phone and open the clock app. Select stopwatch to time yourself. Be sure you have paper, a pencil, and whatever calculator you're comfortable using. If you want to use Desmos, Google Desmos SAT version and click the first result. That version is approved for the digital SAT. Now go ahead and pause this video, attempt the question, and unpause once you're finished. Okay, got your answer? Great. As you watch my step-by-step solution video, I don't want you to focus only on whether you got it right. Instead, ask yourself, did I learn a new technique that I can use on similar questions? Was there a more efficient approach? Can I recognize the theme this question falls under? On average, students get 1 minute and 35 seconds per question on the SAT math section, as outlined in my Tom's Testing Tips document. That assumes all questions are created equal. They're not. Level easy questions should take under 30 seconds. Level medium questions should take under 1 minute. This gives you more time and energy for the level hard questions, the ones worth the most points. The question you just worked on was level medium. Let's check out the instructional breakdown. For our next math lesson, we're on to linear and exponential growth. This is the 7th topic within the problem solving and data analysis category. On this question, it says some values of the function f are shown in the table. Which of the following functions could be f? So something to keep in mind here is recall from our Triple T math document, Tom's Testing Tips, our first tip says don't look at the answer options right away. They'll only confuse you. However, it can be useful to look at the answer format. And on this question, that's definitely the case. So we can see that we're trying to come up with the equation for this function. And whenever you have a table like this, and then you're trying to get the function, we're essentially looking for the regression model. And the easiest approach is using Desmos. So let's go to the upper right corner, just as we would in our own software, where we'll get the Desmos graphing calculator. We'll pull it up and we'll press this plus icon and choose table. And then for X1, we're gonna go ahead and input all these n values, 0, enter, 1, enter, and then notice it starts to notice the pattern. So I can just press enter, enter, and then I'm good at 4. Now I'm gonna go ahead and click into the Y1s, and I'm gonna input all these Y coordinates, which they call f of n in the table. And so I'm just gonna put 1, and then I'm gonna do the / on my keyboard, and it makes a fraction bar for me. I'll put 2, enter, and I'll do the same thing here, 3/4, enter. Now you could choose to use College Board's keyboard, which is in the lower right corner of the software, and use those keys accordingly. But for me, it just feels a little bit easier to type them in. But just to show you, we could do 9 divided by, which makes the fraction bar, 8, and then continue from there. So I'll go back to my keyboard, type these in, and now we have these 5 ordered pairs plotted for us. And notice that over here, it says add regression. So we're gonna go ahead and click there, and they give us a variety of options. The default is linear regression, but notice that's not fitting this model so well. And you could see that options C and D are both in slope-intercept form, meaning that those are following the linear model. Let's contrast that with the exponential model, which is y equals a times b to the x, where a is the y-intercept and b is the common ratio. And notice that options A and B are following that specific format. So we're trying to determine if it's exponential, like options A and B, or linear, like options C and D. So getting back to our graph here, we can see that the linear model, it's okay, but let's go ahead and test out one of the other models. Now you can see there's a ton of options here. We narrowed it down to either linear or exponential. So let's go to exponential. Oh, now that looks perfect. So we can tell it's definitely an exponential model, which means we could totally eliminate options C and D. And now we know it's either A or B, which means we're progressing nicely on our Triple T math document, where we already used the answer format from step 1. In step 2, we did something, which was utilizing Desmos to our advantage. Step 3, once you're certain on one part of the answer, in our case, that it's exponential instead of linear, we're able to eliminate the answer options that it definitely can't be. And now we're on to step 4, where we're gonna analyze what makes, in our case, the remaining 2 options different from each other and choose the correct one. So the equation we get here is y equals 0.5 times 1.5 to the x. And something that's pretty neat is if you click right here, it'll go ahead and put that equation for you, and you can see it in red. If I click here, it removes the red and just shows the initial one, but we can keep it on there. And I know that you know what those decimal equivalents are in their fraction form. For example, 0.5 we know is 1/2, which doesn't really help us out because a and b both have 1/2 in the a value, and 1.5 clearly isn't 3, so we can tell it's going to be a. However, what is nice about Desmos is you could go right here, type in 1.5, click this icon here, and it'll turn it into, in this case, an improper fraction. Obviously, you could do the same thing with 0.5, but that's a bit of a waste of time. Now, we could also go to our graphing calculator, just type in 1.5 alpha y equals, and choose option 4, which is going to change it from either a decimal to a fraction or a fraction to a decimal. In this case, it changes it from the decimal to an improper fraction of 3/2. So regardless, we get the correct answer is A. So by far, Desmos was the easiest approach, and that's what I would do time and time again on the SAT. It's been a pleasure guiding you through this Spotlight SAT free sneak peek. We can't wait to meet with you and your parent for your free strategy session, where we'll map out a personalized plan to help you maximize your digital SAT score. Until then, remember, you got this.